Hey people, welcome to another episode of Bible Q&A. Today we're discussing how can we build adequate spiritual solutions? Well, the first step to building adequate spiritual solutions for problems is finding out what's causing the problem in the first place. Like, what if it's a problem with greed? Is it just because we love money? Is it because we're desperate to maintain our standards of living? Is it because we can't stand the Joneses being richer than us? In general, if the problem has internal causes, you gotta repent, and if the problem has external causes, you gotta pray. For example, the nobles of Israel were sorry for being married to foreigners, so in Ezra chapter 10 verses 2 to 3, they sent their wives back home, and the problem of idolatry was solved. And when Hannah was barren in a society where women who couldn't make babies were looked down upon, Hannah prayed for a son in 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 11, and God gave her Samuel. I mean, she really gave him Samuel, but whatever. Now, when there are several possible solutions, divine communication can help narrow down the right one. Proverbs, advising people to ask God for guidance, says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. For example, David had the ephod, a form of divine dice, in 1 Samuel chapter 23 verses 1 to 9, which showed him which battles to fight. And Jehoshaphat had prophets who told him how to win battles in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. But now, with the stories of David, Jehoshaphat, and more compiled into one book, Christians can use the Bible as their divine communication, seeing which actions can bring success and which won't. For example, the story of Achan in Joshua chapter 7 shows us that theft and fraud can harm not just our financial success, but also that of our family and friends. On the other hand, the generosity that the wealthy Boaz showed to a daughter-in-law of a widow can inspire us to use our resources to help others, so that they don't need to sin to get ahead. On the other hand, not consulting the Bible can create inadequate spiritual solutions, which don't actually end up addressing the problems that need to be solved. For example, the period of the Judges was an unstable time where the Israelites would frequently be attacked by foreign neighbors until some big, strong, divinely inspired leader came up and saved those poor damsels. But two of the last judges, Samson and Samuel, couldn't liberate Israel from Philistine domination, and during their reign they actually got stronger. Thus, when Samuel's sons showed themselves to be corrupt leaders, the Israelites took this as a sign to replace this system with a monarchy, like the ones their neighbors had. That way, there would be an army of trained soldiers who would go and fight their enemies, instead of some judge simply drafting everyone and praying to God for a victory. The only problem was, God would simply make their enemies stronger, so that they would lose their battles just like they did when they didn't have a big strong judge to help them. Samuel told the people, "But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you, as it was against your fathers." And indeed, just like Samson and Samuel, Saul did not liberate Israel from Philistine domination, and the Philistines ended up taking out the royal family. On the other hand, when a king showed up with divine inspiration, like the judges, and he led the people to God, God would step in and defend Israel from their enemies. He said in the Psalms, "Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways. I should soon have subdued their enemies, and turned my hand against their adversaries." Psalms chapter 81, verses 13 to 14. And indeed, only when God could rule the people through David did Israel finally become a unified, independent nation. For like 2 seconds. And so, when modern Christians face problems in their own time, like financial difficulty and troubles with friends, they should use the Bible to find adequate spiritual solutions. For example, someone who is looking for work can pray to God like Jacob did in Genesis chapter 28 verses 10 to 12, instead of simply grabbing one that pulls them away from their family. And someone who is looking for a child can pray like Hannah did, instead of sleeping with someone else to have one. Sometimes those strategies can work, but only adequate spiritual solutions have Jehovah's 100% guarantee. As it was said in Proverbs, "Say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee." Proverbs chapter 20, verse 22. And that's my answer on how we can build adequate spiritual solutions. Just ask God. He'll help you. Subscribe if you liked the video, or leave a hate comment if you didn't. Bye everyone!